Hey everyone, Robert here, back in for another video. Well, video, it's an audio thing. So this is going to be like the same thing again, like I did with City Heroes. This is going to be like a recap of my story of how the weekend went. Because the City Heroes one actually proved quite popular, so I'm doing this one. I know that this is quite late compared to how quick the City Heroes one was done. Because 2 weeks have now passed since MCM Comic Con, and I'm trying to remember a lot of things, but I have to get this done now because tomorrow, today's Thursday, and tomorrow is Friday. I'm heading to Blackpool for the Ultimates Con, so I really need to get this up and done tonight. Otherwise, it's just going to be out of sync. It's going to be terrible on my part. Apologies for not getting this up sooner. Just been really busy with work and stuff and prepping for this con, and there's just too many cons. Too many cons. Too many cons. Too many cons. Yes, I just went there. So we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to start on the Friday night. Okay, so on Friday, I was at work till 2, because I do 5 till 2 in the bakery, because I'm a baker. I'm a baker boy. Call me the Muffin Man. And Simon was getting the coach up from Cornwall, because he lives middle of nowhere, as he does. And his coach got in at about half past 12. So obviously I've told him, all right, get the train from Victoria to where I work, which I will not be saying, haha. And that was the first problem, because like Simon's never taken the London transportation on his own before, so this is the thing, and Simon made it, thankfully. And I finished work at 2, and I went to the station and I picked him up. And then we went to my dad's, who just lives in around the corner. And, it was great seeing Simon. We hadn't seen each other for a whole 2 weeks. And we just moseyed on there to my dad's for like a few hours, just a couple of hours. Because then we had to go all the way to East Croydon station to pick up Dave. Now, this was a journey and a half, I tell you, because not only did Dave decide to get the 5:10 train from his to East Croydon, by the time we got to East Croydon, like between 5 and 6 is on a Friday, it's rush hour. Thanks, Dave, for choosing the worst time. So it was the most slowest trip going to there, and East Croydon station is in the most awkwardest of places, because we circled the station, like the sat nav told us to turn left and 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 turn left, and Simon will even tell you this. But he was like, "Where is this station?" And then like Dave's ringing Simon, I'm like, "Where are you?" I'm here, and I'm like, "Well, we're there, but we're not there." And then we finally managed to get to the station, and then it was just gridlocked at the station, like there was no cars moving. But we found Dave, and he was all cool in his sunglasses because it was a sunny afternoon, thinking he was all that. He ain't all that. He ain't no strong, independent black woman who need no man. Yeah, I went there. But the trip going back home was it was empty. So we're all together. We're all together, and we went to Harvester. We went to Harvester that night to eat. And we got there. It was like, oh yeah, 45-minute wait. Oh, okay, fine. So we just sat down, and we were just talking about obviously the plans and stuff for the next day. And this is where the conversation came up of the Power Rangers merch. Now, me and Dave, ever since we found out, we said we're going to buy the communicator, the Legacy communicator, because they had it on sale at MCM, I think, a month prior to general release. So me and Dave said from the offset, all right, we're going to get that. And Simon's always wanted a morpher. He's always wanted like some Power Rangers Legacy items. And we were like really like begging him to like buy a communicator first. And then we got into discussion that if you're going to buy anything Legacy related, you have to get the morpher. And someone's like, I'll get the morpher, but I'm not going to get the morpher. I'm not going to get the morpher. And it just turned into this massive thing that me and Dave kept on just saying, oh yeah, you're going to buy the morpher. And Simon's like, I don't need the morpher. I don't need the morpher. I have nowhere to put the morpher. It's just going to sit there in a box. Like, yeah, buy the morpher. You know you want the morpher. You're going to get the morpher. It's like, I'm not going to get the morpher. So then we just started talking about the all the future legacy lines coming out, because obviously they're bringing out the legacy figures, and they're, as far as we're aware, it's going to be like the Star Wars Black Label series, um, but they're going to go through the entire Power Ranger line, like from Mighty Morphin all the way to Super Mega Force, or maybe even Dino Charge. Um, and we just started talking about that, and also they've just announced that they're going to be releasing a 1-to-1 scale Mighty Morphin Red Ranger helmet, and we're like, on that, need that, because that's going to be amazing. Um, and we were just like, oh, could we actually wear it? Because if it's a 1-1 scale, you should be able to wear it. And funny enough, we were talking about the legacy line and stuff, and then about 10 minutes later, it's all over Facebook that the first images of the legacy action figures have been released. So we're like, oh, okay. And they were just like, oh, you know what, these are pretty cool. The articulation looks pretty decent. These look, slightly even better than the fig arts which got released. And you know, all our conversation was purely on Power Rangers at that point. And then we got called for dinner. We had dinner. We had burgers and stuff, and it was great. And the fudge cake, we just like, yeah, fudge cake for dessert. I said, you gotta have the fudge cake, and they were like, yeah, 3 fudge cakes, please. All good. And we had them. And then we went back to mine, and we're all like hyped about Power Rangers at this point. Oh, that's right. We were talking about the Power Rangers movie next year, because like we don't like the suits, and we don't like Rita's look, and they've just distanced themselves too much from the original. It's too different. And we were like, well, I want to see Goldar, I want to see the Zords, I want to see Zordon, I want to see Alpha 5. And we were like talking about all this stuff they haven't announced yet. And it was just like, it's supposed to be like less than a year away now. Why haven't we got any like more images and stuff? But I digress. That was what we were talking about. So when we got back to mine, we were just like this Power Ranger hype at this point, because we were just talking about Power Rangers and stuff. So stuck on Netflix, and we watched a few Power Ranger episodes. One of them being Forever Red, amazing, like the best Power Ranger episode of all time. And it was actually pretty late at this point. It was like around about 10 o'clock. We got back. So I watched Forever Red, and we watched the SPD Dino Thunder team up, because we started talking about that because Jason David Frank was never called back for that. They had some random guy voicing over because he never appeared outside of the black suit. Not happy. And yeah, that was that. So I left Dave and Simon downstairs, and I went to my bedroom, and we all slept. We was up at 5 o'clock the next morning. Because obviously we'd have showers and we'd get some food, and we were aiming to get there for about 7:30, because we knew that the crowd was just going to be absolutely massive, and we knew that getting tickets for autographs would be insane. So we got up at 5, me and Simon had a shower, got in the car, and we left about 6:15. And it was pissing it down. It was pissing it down, because one thing we were worried about was the fact that it was going to rain. But we were inside all day, so you're not going to get wet. So it's pissing it down in the car, and obviously we passed McDonald's, so we pulled in the McDonald's, got a quick bite to eat, because you do not want to go to a con, especially the XL Centre, without anything in your stomach, because you know that it's just going to be rammed, and it's going to be chock-a-block, and you're not going to get any food anywhere unless you queue up for hours, and even then it'll be extortionate money. So right, we need something. So we had McDonald's, and we're back on our way to the train station in Woolwich. And again, we were circling the Woolwich train station around and around, trying to find the car park. And we found it eventually. It was just down this small side road, which was just in the middle of nowhere. And it was he's crawling over again, just like going around in circles. So we got on the DLR to XL, and obviously the train's packed. You have people full of cosplayers and everything going to the XL Centre. Um, and it's only like it's a 10-minute journey from Woolwich, so it's literally just across the river. So we get to the XL Centre, and I thought it'd be a massive queue already, but we had priority passes, so we literally walked the entire length of the XL Centre because that's where we were supposed to go, and then we were just again weaving, snaking round in barriers, up down, up down, up down, up down down. Showed my ticket, wristband on, boom, into the XL Centre we are. Like, wow, okay. So if you know what the XL Centre's layout is, it's like convention halls on one side, convention halls on the other. It's like one massive hallway, and then convention areas on both sides, cornered off by shutters. So we get given our goodie bag, which had nothing of any interest in it, but we had the map layout, so we now know where like everything is. So the hallway is really like pretty packed at this point, but people are just like more involved with the cosplayers and stuff than actually queuing up. So we got on the map and we're like trying to figure out where we are in the map in the hallway, and what ends are the signing areas and whatnot. So being in my map skills, try and find out where we are. Found out where we are, and the signing area was in the opposite end, the other end of the hallway. So right, so if we're here, this is here. We'll go to these shutters down here. And it was about 8 o'clock, about 8:10, and we got to these shutters. Right, so this is where we are. Well, there wasn't a lot of people hanging out outside these shutters, so we thought, oh, okay, oh, there's this Turtles thing over here. Like obviously, new Turtles movie's out, and there was this cardboard cutout, and you could sit on this cardboard sofa next to Mikey. And oh, yeah, we'll take some pictures. It's fine. And that was the first pictures of the day. And then we just stood. We went to the shutter, and we were right at the front of the shutter. So we're like, no, we're going to stay here because then it's going to be a mad dash to the ticket booth. And we just sat there till about quarter to 9. We sat on the floor, and then a security guard came over and just stood at the shutters. So we all got up, and we're like, okay, we're raring to go now. We're raring to go. We want to get in. 9 o'clock comes around. Shutters aren't open. Why aren't you open? And obviously, if you've gone and watched the video from before, I've actually recorded the entire segment where I'm just like standing there like, it's 9 o'clock. Why aren't you open? I think the doors are about 8 minutes, 10 minutes past 9. And no, they asked us to stand back as they opened the shutters. And, you could hear everyone going, ooh. And I just thought, it's going to be a mad, mad rush. And because they got like a rope barrier and they got the shutters. Shutters are open, and then the security guy, he's got the rope barrier and he's unclipped it. And as soon as he walks past people are running. That's it. It was a mad run, absolutely insane dash. And we were like, wow, look at all these people running. And like, I don't even know where people were running to, because a lot of people were running to the ticket booth, but a lot of people actually, I think, at these kind of places, if you like the first at a promoter's booth, you'll get like some free shit. But we knew we had to go to that ticket booth. And so it was a mad rush. I ran into a Dino Charge Ranger. And we ran to the ticket booth. And luckily we were third, fourth and fifth in line. And we were just like, oh my God. That's just watching people just run in was just insane. And MCM is the biggest con in London, in the UK even, because we actually found out that in attendance on that day, 120,000 people were in attendance on that day. That is an insane number. Because like this is the kind of con where you can't walk around. You're just like you're squashed. You're trying to barge people just to get to play somewhere, and that's when you know you've oversold something. And it's so bad. This is my problem with MCM when it comes to guests. It's the ticket. It's the ticket operations. there were two people serving tickets. Two people. That's it. And if we hadn't have rushed there straight away, we were never going to get tickets. That's the reason why we got priority, because if you was general, you was never going to get an autograph ticket. So obviously, me, Dave, and Simon handed over like hundreds of pounds for autograph tickets, and we went straight to the autograph area. And the biggest queue was Elizabeth Henstridge, and we was waiting there for about good because Simon's were 9:30, and we got there. We were in the queue from about 20 past 9. And of course, with any con with guests, they show up late. That's just standard routine. But Luke Mitchell showed up, and then some of the being human guys showed up, and the NCS guy showed up, and like the biggest queue was Elizabeth Henstridge. She hadn't shown up yet, and then she was up like, "Yay!" And she's like, "Oh my god, she's so cute. She's such a nice girl. She's a nice girl." And this is literally what we were saying like the entire day. And like you could tell that everyone was just so happy to be there, like guest wise, and they would really want to take the time out and ask you questions and where you're from and what do you think in this. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And the Elizabeth Henstridge queue was actually really slow because they were taking their time out. But I didn't mind that because I knew for a fact that we would get all autographs done that morning before our first photo shoot. Because we literally were going Elizabeth Henstridge, Nick Blood, Luke Mitchell, Katrina Law, Bosch, done. Because they were literally next to each other. And Luke Mitchell had no queue. And Liz hadn't shown up. So Simon's like, "Oh, shall I jump in the Luke Mitchell queue?" He's like, "No. Why? Look here, it's not going to get busy." And because everyone's wants to meet Liz because like Luke Mitchell's irrelevant now. Spoiler. He died in the final of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3. So I don't think no one's going to want to meet him. Oh, how I was wrong. So, obviously, we committed to the Elizabeth Henstridge queue, and I met her, and she's so nice. She's like, "Hey." And I'm like, "Hey." And I'm like, "Can you sign this, please?" She's like, "Yay." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." And then, obviously, I gave her the paint pen. And what she said to me was, "Oh, I love the smell of the paint pen." Because obviously it's like them fumes in it. It's like, "Oh wow, they can really get you high." I'm like, "Oh wow," and I'm just like, "I want her to be my sister. She's a nice girl." That's like She was like so pretty, and that was amazing. But what we noticed like is that Luke Mitchell had like a massive queue, and Elizabeth Henstridge had a massive queue, and Nick Blood had no one, and he was in the middle of them. He was just like sitting there. So people that were in the Luke queue and the Elizabeth queue were just going either to the left or to the right to meet Nick straight away because he literally had no one. And also Katrina Law had a massive queue, and Willa Holland was supposed to be there as well. She showed up like an hour late. Like wow. But also when we was in the Elizabeth Henstridge queue, the queue for the ticket booth had now snaked round all the way down the length of the autograph area and started backtracking on itself. And what I actually found out later on in the day is that within, I think, 45 minutes, they had to cap that queue at 2,000 people. 2,000 people were in the queue to get autograph tickets. And you've got 2 people serving. You're not going to get it done, mate. Sorry. And the thing is that queue never died down the entire day. You get to a point in the day where you're not going to get through, you're not going to get an autograph, or why bother? Give up. So met Elizabeth Henstridge, and she was such a nice person. And then obviously I went on to Nick Blood because I needed his autograph. Because I got the Shield poster. And he asked me where I'm from. I said, "Oh, I'm just across the river, I'm from Woolwich." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're Arsenal fan." Nah, mate. Nah. Maybe from Woolwich, mate, but Arsenal's North London. Jog on. I said, "I'm a West Ham fan." He's like, "Oh, you're a West Ham fan?" Yeah, yeah. He's like, "Oh, what do you think about that move to the Olympic Stadium?" I'm like, "Oh, well, sad leaving Upton Park. I mean, I understand it business-wise. It needs to be done." And I said to him, "Yeah, the only problem I got about moving to the Olympic Stadium is there's no pubs in the area." He's like, "Oh, yeah, totally." I'm like, "Yeah, you got to have a drink before the game, ain't you?" It's like, tradition. He's like, "Totally." And then it just got awkward and I left. But he was a nice boy. He was a nice boy. Um, so then obviously I'm in the Luke Mitchell queue. Um, and we didn't know this, but Luke Mitchell is Australian. He's Australian, and he was in Home and Away. But what? You learn something new every day. Because people actually genuinely had Home and Away merchandise to get signed. I'm like, people will still watch Home and Away? I didn't even know that. Um, so yeah, so we're in the Luke Mitchell queue, and we were literally just like following each other, like because obviously we would meet everyone together. So we're like boom, 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 in. So we're in the Luke Mitchell queue, and the Willa Holland queue was absolutely getting massive because again she just hadn't shown up yet, um, and my friends Craig and Karen were in the Willa Holland queue, and I was just like we were just because Katrina Law was like next to Willa Holland, we were like the queue was going down and we passed them. It was like hey, and again Katrina Law is a nice girl. Oh no, we're in Luke Mitchell queue. We're in the Luke Mitchell queue. He's a nice boy, and then we're in the Katrina Law queue. I don't remember talking about Luke. Oh, that's right. I was like, oh, I was so glad about Luke Mitchell dying. Luke Mitchell about Lincoln dying. Uh, because I thought he had more to show, and also his relationship with Daisy, and he goes, "Oh man, totally. I thought I could have brought more to it, but it was really, really, really good the way it ended." I said, "Oh, it was really poetic," and he's like, "Oh, totally," and he's like thanking me for coming because his wife's English, and that's why he came over anyway, was to see her family. Um, so he thought he'd work regardless. Okay, he says he's working. He'd rather work than see his missus' family. Well done. Um, and then I moved on to Katrina Lockheed. Um, and again, Katrina Lockheed is a nice girl. She's a nice girl. She was doing anything for anyone. She'd take selfies. She'd write what you want. And obviously, I've thrown. Well, I haven't thrown. I've put the Yarrow poster in front of her, and she's like, "Oh wow, you got so many like autographs." And I'm like, "I know." I was like, "You then?" I'm like, she's like, "Oh, who you got on here?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was Stephen Amell, and I've got Emily Bent Records, and I've got John Barrowman, and like, oh, no, I'm gonna have you on there." So I'll get you signed down here, um, and then obviously because I've got all these posters in the same tube. I've rolled them out all together, and then she's like, "What, you want me to sign all these posters?" I'm like, "No, just sign that one." It's just because they're all in the same thing, so it's like, I've got to take them all out. And it's like, "Oh, I really want to look for your posters. Go look for your posters." Like, "Yeah, go on." It's like, "Okay, so what we got here? We got Agents of Shield, yeah, them, and you got the Flash, and you got like, it's Gotham." And it's like, "Wow, those are really cool, man. Thanks." And yeah, and she was really cool. I liked her. I liked her a lot. She's a nice girl. Um, and that was it. That was my autographs done for the morning, anyway. And so, and then obviously, we was all done at that point. So then we went over to the photograph area because it was about 20 past 11 at this point, and also our first photo shoot was Elizabeth Henstridge at 11 o'clock, which were already running late because of the sheer amount of people that have bought photograph tickets. Elizabeth Henstridge had sold out. Katrina Law had sold out. Willa Holland had sold out. Um, did Luke Mitchell sell out? I think Luke Mitchell sold out on the day. Um, but it was 11 o'clock was Elizabeth Henstridge, and then 11:30 was Luke Mitchell, and then quarter to 12 was Nick Blood. I think. No, it wasn't. 11 o'clock was Elizabeth Henstridge. Quarter past 11 was Nick Blood, and then 11:30 was Lincoln because they had two photo shoot areas and they were like doing the Shield guests at the same time, which was retarded. Um, I think, if I can remember rightly. So obviously I went to Elizabeth Henstridge and obviously like people were doing poses and stuff, and I'm like, I want a hug. I want a hug from Elizabeth Henstridge, and like people were getting hugs. I'm like, I'm gonna ask her for a hug because she's a nice girl. And like, can I have a hug? And she's like, yeah, you can have a hug. And like, yeah, I got a hug. And she's a nice. I want her to be my sister. um, uh, and it was just a nice experience overall, really, with Elizabeth Henstridge. Um, she'd do anything for you, I think. Um, and then I didn't have Nick Blood; the others did. Um, but it was just stupidly because there was just not a big enough area to have the queue in because they'd snake a little bit, and then it would just like go again. There was just not enough area for the queue to be in for the amount of tickets that they had sold, which is ridiculous. Again, they messed up again. Um, but it was going well in the morning. Like we were knocking them out. Like, bosh, bosh, bosh. And then the Luke Mitchell one, like again, overran because they sold more tickets on the day. Then because obviously the schedule said he was only doing a half-hour session, which ran I think like 45 minutes to 50 minutes long. Um, and again, he was just a nice guy in the shoots. He like shake my hand, how am I doing? I'm like, I'm good, mate, I'm good. Oh shoot, so photographer there, fucking look at that, yeah, hey, photographer. Um, we went on, and that was it for me. That was it for me. That was it for me. Yeah. Because then the others had Nick Blood, so they were queuing up for God knows how long. Because obviously one had to finish. Lincoln had to finish when Nick Blood came along, and Lincoln's overran. So I moseyed for a bit. That's right. I went, and because Erin Richards started signing at 11, so I went and met Erin Richards back in the autograph area, um, and she had a bit of a big queue because a lot of people were queuing up at her booth from 9 o'clock, even though she won't start signing till 11. And she's a nice girl. She's also a nice girl. She'd write anything for you on your item, and she'd have a conversation with you. And again, I went up there, and like I put the purple pen in front of her because obviously Gotham's theme's purple, and she's like, "Oh, purple! Oh, you got purple? Who else got in here? Oh, you got Corey, and you got Sean, and you got David." And it's like, oh, why purple? It's like, oh, because I'm like, I've got all these posters here, I'm like color coordinating all my posters. And like, oh, really? I really want to see what else you got. So she starts looking for the posters. And first off is Agent Carter, no one on there. And then Supergirl, no one on there. And then Shield, oh, red for Shield. Oh, yeah. It's like, when did you get these? I'm like, oh, yeah, they're down there. Oh, they're down there? I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay. And then she looks at the Arrow poster, green for Arrow. I'm like, wow, you got a lot on there. And then she looked Flash and blue. And like, oh wow, like this is really more amazing posters you got here. And like, thank you very much. And I'm not gonna lie, Erin Richards looked a bit of a mess. And she said she had coffee in her flask, and I think it was vodka, because she seemed a bit over the place. um, and yeah, and then obviously I was done for autographs. Then I was done by midday because we didn't think we was going to get Erin Richards' autograph by midday. We thought we'd have to wait to the second autograph session because she didn't have a really long one, the first one. So I then left the autograph area to go back to the photograph area to meet up with Simon and Dave. And I said to her, "Oh, I just got my Erin Richards autograph." She's like, "Oh, is she still there?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, we're gonna go and get hers now." I'm like, "Okay." And they wouldn't let him in. The bouncer wouldn't let him into the autograph area because they kept Erin Richards' queue. It's about 20 to 12. She finishes signing at 12 o'clock, and there was no one in Erin Richards' queue. She was just sitting there, and the bouncer's like, "No, you can't go in. We've kept her queue." But there's no one there. She's gonna be sitting there for another 20 minutes regardless. Let us in just to get that autograph. And he's like, "Nah." So then we spoke to his steward, and we just like, he won't let us in to get Erin Richards' autograph because they said that they've kept the queue, but she's still sitting there for another 20 minutes. Why can't we go over there? It's like, oh, it's because they had massive queues on the other side, the Shield guests, that they can't let anyone else in until that dies down. Even though you're not going over onto that side, it's like, oh, but it's because the area's too big. The area's too full. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. It's a big enough area. So they did get in eventually, and they got their autograph. And at this point, we went to the Bandai stall. Because obviously, we want to get our communicators. So we went up to the Bandai store and like they had everything on display in the display cabinet. And I'm just like, I want. Because obviously I want Saba, and I want the White Tiger Zord, and I want the Thunder Megazord. I don't know if I want the Falcon Zord. I wasn't a big fan of the Ninja Megazord, even though it is the movie version, and it would be cool to have the movie version. I'm just like, eh. Um, so Dave bought his communicator, and I bought my communicator, and then Simon bought a morpher. We were like, whoa, he's bought a morpher, yes. And he's like, oh, I thought you didn't need it. I thought you didn't need it. And like, oh, but I wanted it. And like, yay. And like, me and Dave both said, we're more happy that you've bought a morpher than we've bought a communicator. And it's so true. Because you know, after pestering so long, like for the past 2 days to be getting the morpher, and he said he wasn't going to get it, and then he went and got it. It was amazing stuff. Um, and because, like, you know, the communicator was £65, the morpher was 50. If you spent £20, you got a Green Ranger Tokyo Pop vinyl, and you get a free T-shirt if you spend over 50. So, you know, which we did. So, like, yay, free shit, free Power Ranger shit. Um, so we were like, yay, merch. And now at this point, like, we had nothing to do till 2 o'clock. That's when our next photo shoots were. So we were moseying. Um, and we were just like looking at all the stalls and trying to like just barge through people really because you just couldn't move. And of course, there's just so much stuff that you want, but it's like, do you buy stuff here because you're here, knowing full well that it's probably cheaper on the internet somewhere? But it's like, oh, I ain't got any money anyway, so I'm not going to buy anything. But it's always nice to look around. Um, but yeah, we didn't buy anything. We were just killing time, really. So we was wandering about an hour before we went back to the photo shoot area because we had Katrina Law and Willa Holland both at 2 o'clock. Not me or Dave, but Simon had Willa and Katrina. So we all went into the Katrina queue first, and she's a nice girl. And you know, went to her photo shoot area, and she was doing a different pose of everyone. She was making sure it was unique, and we were just like, yeah, okay, we could do this. And then I pulled out the most gay pose you could ever think of. Like, look at it, look at it right there. How gay do I look? Seriously, I'm just like, look, I've dainted my leg. I'm on my tiptoe on my foot. I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, girlfriend. Like, seriously, what am I doing? I kind of panicked when I walked up there. And I was just like, I'll just do the first thing that comes to mind. So I did the regular pose, but with a dainted foot. And I'm just like, woo! Like, what have I just done? What have I just done? And I looked at the picture and I'm just like, I'm going to think the positive here. It's not gay. It's a fun photo. This is a fun photo. It's a fun photo with a nice girl. It's not a gay photo. It's a fun photo. And it was like, it's a fun photo. It's fine. I'm like, yeah, it's fun. And Simon got his done, and Dave got his done, and that was it. Dave was done for the day. He didn't have nothing else to do. But obviously, Simon had to go into the Will Holland queue, which was, I think, overran. Not even overran. Oh no, that's right. The CSI guests that were there overran. They at this point they had fucked everything up because they had an NCIS group shot and single shots. And there was like 3 different queues forming to go into one photo area. One queue for this guy, one queue for this girl, and then one queue for the group shot. And they were like taking it in turns, like which one would go in. Like, oh, yeah, we'll do one here, one there, one there. I'm like, no, that's not how you do things. And it was just insane because Willa Holland was supposed to be after that. I don't think Willa Holland's photo shoot started till like 10 to 3, and it was supposed to start at 2. And Simon was just in this queue forever. Like, so Dave was going to actually just leave at this point because he had no reason to be there anymore. And he was going to ditch us. Yeah, you ditched us, Dave. But I'm like, Dave, Simon's in the queue. I'm going to be left on my own. So we moseyed for a bit. And we went to the other side of the Excel Centre to over there to see what they had over there. There's more booths and more whatnot, and more like promoters stuff. We was like, ooh, ah, ee, ooh, bing, bang, blah, 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 bing, bang, and all that jazz. And I'm like, oh, look, trading cards. Yay, trading cards. And we were just like, looking around, basically, because, again, it's just too many people there to really appreciate it. And then we sat down for a bit because we were been on our feet all day. And we sat down for a bit just to like, you know, get our bearings and stuff. And then we got a call from Simon. Oh, I'm nearly at the front of the queue now. I'm like, hooray! And like Dave really wanted to go home at this point. Like he really wanted to leave us. So we went back to Simon, and was he at the front of the queue? I think he was at the front, nearly at the front of the queue. And like Dave said his byes, and he went away like a dick, absolute dick. And then I just like hanged around with Simon for a bit, and then yeah, and then he got his photo done, and then we moseyed for a bit. Or did we mosey for a bit? No, we didn't mosey for a bit. It was that late in the day on that Simon got through in his Will and Holland queue that Erin Richards' photo started at 4 o'clock. It was like 20 to 4 at this point, so we just started queuing up for Erin Richards. Now, also at this point, the collection area for your photographs, the queue for that was insanely huge, because Karen and Craig were in that queue since from about, I think, 3 o'clock, and Craig left the queue to join Erin Richards queue, with us, and Karen was still left there, and Erin Richards' photo shoot started late. I think we got into the Erin Richards shoot about 4:15, and Karen at that point was like nearly at the front of the collection area, and she had to get an Erin Richards photo as well. So we like dashed into the Erin Richards photo shoot area, and we was in the queue inside the area, and like she gave you two options. She gave you hip hop pose or a strangling pose, and they were horrible. I'm like, I don't want these poses. This is a horrible pose. I'm not paying money. I've not paid money to have her look like an utter chav in one shoot, or her look like she's actually killing me in another. So like when I went up there, she went hip hop or strangle. I'm like, can I have a hug, please? In like my most like sincerest like childlike way, and she's like, I can give you a hug. I can add that to my options, and like she gave me a hug, and I'm like, yay, I got a hug. I was like, yep, I got a hug of her, and then we just like we dashed out, and literally we went around the corner to the collection area, and Karen was there flicking through photos, and we were like, sorry, excuse me, sorry, and we literally just went to the front of the queue where she was, and then we started looking through the photos, and then she went and got her Erin Richards photo done, and she came back to us, and we was like, oh yeah, we want the Erin Richards photo. Oh, it's gonna be about a half hour wait. I'm like, nah, mate, nah. Have you seen this queue? We've been queuing up for an hour and a half, yeah, to pick up these photos. Well, we weren't. We just literally just, you know how it goes. At cons, you have to blag these things, and they were like, oh, okay, tell you what, take 2 steps back so people can walk through and just wait there. And we were like, okay, that's fine, that's fair enough. Because there was no way in the hell that we were going to queue up again for an hour and a half because it was a half-hour wait for those photos. Because with MCM, they don't do digital uploads. So if you didn't pick up your photo that day, there and then, you would have lost it. And it was just insane because the queue for the ticket area is right next door to the collection point. And that was still massively big. And that was still at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Signings stop at 5:30. So why are you queuing up for that? And some people did actually complain that we had pushed in. And like, we didn't push in. We have a friend that was here. Deal with it. So we had got our... Eventually we got our photographs. But it was just a shambles. Again, you've got constant photograph for photo shoots happening all day, and your printers are that slow, and you got 8 of them. That's not how you work it, mate. You have lots of printers that are really fast doing their job, and you don't have a collection area. You print them as you go, and you give them out. That's how Showmasters. That's why Showmasters are amazing at what they do, because they get the job done fast, quick, simple. Not these other cons. No, never in a million years. But we got all our photographs at the end, and that was it. It was about I reckon about 4:30 at this point, about 20 to 5. And me and Simon, we were dead. We were absolutely dead. Um, and like I said, to Simon, because Simon hadn't had a chance to look around actually all day because he was just in like the big ass queues. And I said, Simon, like, do you want to look around or do you want to go get food? Because obviously we hadn't eaten all day and we hadn't drank anything all day either. Um, and he was looking around thinking, oh, do I want to look around or do I want to get food? I'm like, let's go get food. Can we get food? I'm like, I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm sweaty. Let's just go and like do this. He's like, yeah, okay. So he's like, he said he didn't have any money anyway to waste. So we then got a DLR, and the train station was rammed, which was to be expected. In all fairness, let's be honest. But we got on the train fairly easy, and we went Chinese buffet. And Chinese was amazing, always is. And this is how dead we were. When we got back to mine, I think we just sat in my room for about an hour and a half in silence. Just in silence. We just didn't want to do anything. We were dead. We were beyond dead. And what did we even watch? I don't even know what did I stick the TV on? I think I just stuck up some more random Power Ranger episodes. And that was that. I think I think so. Oh, that's right. But how can I forget this? When I was moseying, I found all the anime stall, and they were selling the Sword Art Online Part 4 Blu-ray, and I was like, "Yay! I'm buying this impulse buy," because it's a month till release date, and the only place I've seen on it is Amazon at £36. It's like 30 quid on it. And then obviously I told Mark about it because he wants it as well. Because we normally buy from Zavvi at £25, but they haven't got it up, which is weird. But a week later, Amazon put the price down to 26 quid. Fuck you, Amazon. Fuck you. Fuck you. I don't know. Back to the night, and I think, and it was a pretty early night. I think we went to bed about 10, because we were done. We were shattered. We were just gone. And I think we woke up about 6, 7 o'clock next morning, because obviously it's light out at this time of the year, and we were just like, yeah, it's good to stay, isn't it? Yeah. I was playing my communicator, in making all the noises and stuff, and I was happy with it, and we were just talking about the day really. So it was progress that day, and so I went home early Sunday morning. So I took him to Victoria's train station, because obviously I was going progress regard anyway. So I dropped Simon off about 10 past 10 at Victoria train station, and Mark was getting in at 10:30 at Victoria train station. So I literally just stood there and waited for Mark to come, and then we went to Progress in Camden. But yeah, that was basically, that's a story really. And you know what? I had a good time. We got what we done. We got what we done. We got what we wanted to do. And it was just, as always, it's always emotional when you say goodbyes, you know. But you know, we're seeing each other again tomorrow. This is our third con in 6 weeks. This is insane. And just, it's ridiculous how much we're doing and how much we're spending. But you know what? To hang around with Dave and hang around with Simon and doing these things with these two is amazing. And you know, I wouldn't regret anything that we've done in the past 2 cons, not at all. So I'm hoping that tomorrow goes well. I hope the hotel's nice, because apparently it's an utter shithole. And yeah, so MCM is officially done. That's 2 out of 5 cons done in con season this year. And yeah, just thank you for listening. I know this wasn't a great story compared to City Heroes, but remember this was 2 weeks ago, and I have a memory of a goldfish. So thanks guys. Keep rebelizing, supersizing, and boom. 45. 45 minutes on dot.